time.
Which leads us to our next game. But before that, I see Dusty is playing the Twitch. He's all like, sneaky, sneaky. Nobody's listening to him.
Oh, hello!
I was expecting this because she's always making the impersonations of the Twitch. So I wanted you guys to hear this one, which leads us exactly into X7 versus Singularity. It's going to be the last match of the day. And we do have a lot to talk about this one because X7 are looking better, stronger. They're adapting to their composition. They're playing a little bit more aggressively, and they're looking to Attila more like, okay, you can be aggressive. They're taking the leash of Attila. Attila's just going, no, 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 no. On the other side, though, Singularity, though, changing the entire roster. What can we even expect?
Except Pizzione, which was the addition, I think, a week and a half ago.
I would say so. Into the mid lane.
And I like the dude because he hovers Katarina all the time. So he knows what's up.
Analysis. but now he's a bot laner.
Now he's a bot laner. And the last time we had this, I think it was Monk in Eminem. He was playing mid lane for them with the AP Kog'Maw, where we were like, oh, this guy uses the Kog'Maw passive better than anyone else. And then he went over back to bot lane, which was his initial lane as well, right? So, yeah, definitely. It's going to be very interesting to see what Piccione will bring. Is it going to be traditional AD carries? Is he going to bring that mid lane flair towards the bottom of the map with like mages and a lot of the enchanters that we have seen in the league as well? And of course, when you bring an entirely new roster, what in the world can you expect? How do they play? Is it an early game team? Is it a late game team? Are they going full crazy? What are their champion pools? Because so far we had Singularity as this team where they had so much freedom to pick whatever the heck they want. Hell, Pop brought out the fiddlesticks last game. So I just cannot wait to see what type of game they're going to play. Because if it's the traditional, I don't think it's going to work versus this X7.
My question as well is X7 is a really aggressive team. And if they're fighting versus someone that didn't have a lot of time to scrim, if X7 step on their wounds, is there any way to Singularity come back? Because you're still adapting to the team, the communication might not be on point. How can you recover from that if X7 just go ham on you?
I don't even know.
Man.
I'm feeling it today.
Yeah, you do though. But I don't even know. I also don't know what to expect from them, but they have a really hard task against them because I expect X7 are going to go very hard on them. I expect they are going to push this aggressiveness onto them and they will not give them any chance to recover throughout the game. So this could potentially be a quick one unless Singularity find their footing in the game. But we don't know if they will manage. We don't know how well everybody in the team understands each other. How well are they on the same page? Are they not? That's what we need to discover in this game.
Trouble.
And I feel like if X7 go with the same sort of story that they did in the last game, where MC was on the Volibear, a big facilitating jungler, or the Wukong, I think he shined on both of them. These two junglers are very proactive in the early game, and in the hands of MC, he's made them work back to back. They played a little bit more aggressive towards the bottom of the map, getting these kills onto Attila, who this time was not on the edge, or was on something more aggressive, like the Tristana that can take over the towers, it can take over the map, and you can transition her around and take even more structures. And then we finally saw the power of Chasey on one of these split pushes, like the Fiora. Temp was obviously chilling on his control mates on the Victor in the mid lane, but this is what Temp does, right? So they had three volatile lanes where you have Fiora on one side, you've got Tristan on the other side that wants to push, and you've got Victor that's perma pushing as well, and they managed to pull it through with all three. Now, the problem is you just don't know how Singularity want to play. Do they have a curveball to throw X7? Because we saw a bunch of teams throwing curveballs at X7 earlier on in the split, and X7 were like, Viego, Azir, and Senna, you know, and it just didn't work at some point.
Trouble, you want to do it? Give me the champion select. We just hit the button. This is exactly what we need to do. There you go. This one worked, okay. I got nervous.
Hey guys, that's not Pop.
It's not exactly that. It's not Pop, but you don't know what Scrudy actually brings as well. So a big question mark coming in for Singularity. And as a coach, you have to do a lot of research. And I see a lot of confusion in your face as well.
All right, let's say, okay, let's all agree that X7 have done their homework and they know they're not playing against Pop.
Obviously,
okay?
yeah.
So Scrudy also plays the Karthus. Now, I think the problem is mostly what do you buy from the side of Singularity to shut down X7? And I think maybe even taking away something like the Volibear for MC, or do you want to handshake the Wukong into Volibear and see who can make a bigger impact in the early game and maybe ban something like the Zeri here?
Are you ready to risk it? Are you ready to risk the handshake in such a scenario? Apparently,
Seems
I
like,
was
yeah.
just asking, but well, my question has been answered. It looks like it is going to be. And they are picking Zeri for themselves, already looking into the strong and scaling bot lane.
Question is,
Yeah.
Give it.
that is another Korean mid laner in X7. And another Korean mid laner in XL took that Zeri AP mid the way Kaisa was
Right.
built. So is this going to be an Attila Zeri or is this going to be a Tempt Zeri? Now, knowing Tempt, he will
Let it go to the bot lane.
resolve
Yeah,
back
yeah, yeah.
his control mazes exactly and create space for the Zeri. But this is where the handshake happens, right? Scrudi has chosen the Wukong. It does put it higher. It's a champion that can be proactive in the early, but is also extremely useful later on in the fights, whilst Volibear has to make it mostly work in the early game, because later on into Seraphine and all that, you have to unfortunately ulti in to reach the backline rather than just queue into it. And of course, Tempt right here picking another one of his scaling champions. Now I wonder what they're going to choose to play aggressive, because picking the Volibear, you're looking for this aggressive play in the early game. You're looking maybe for the potential tower dives after level 6. So if we're looking at bot lane, maybe something like the Nautilus will come through, something like the Leona will come through, because you definitely want to be diving that Seraphine Rakan, if that Seraphine, of course, gets transition bot lane, which we mentioned. It is Piccione, it is someone who was playing mid lane. Could he potentially transition all these mid lane champions into the bot side?
And even open more for a Mirza into the mid lane. Maybe we
We
can
played
get
the
Yasuo's-
Lucian last time.
The Lucian as well. The Lucian is bad on this one. Well, let's see what happens. Do we get another Seraphine bot? Is this the new trend? Seraphine bot alongside with the...
How new is it's not really a new
It's not
trend.
new, but it's coming back, you know?
it
It's a
works.
fashion trend.
It works. She has so big range that she can stand pretty safely against quite many bot laners. And
Now
she
that
has
I'm looking, you really look like Seraphine, though.
You're so original. I have never heard that before.
Oh, people have told you that before.
Yes.
I have no idea.
It's like they prepare for trouble and make it double.
Yeah.
Really? Has anybody told Nightmare that he looks like Ari?
No, but they've told him he looks like Victor. I think that would be a very original one if you told him he looks like Ari.
We have the bunny
I
meta.
think he's missing the ears.
He's missing those ears. Okay.
Right. Going back to that,
Yeah.
Nautilus has not been banned, and I feel like from what I'm seeing from X7 right here, if you want to play aggressive, you do need something to try and dive towards the
Yes.
bot side of the map. So you're looking again into Piccione, you're looking into the Leona, you're looking into the Nautilus on the bot side of the map. Works pretty well with Zeri, sets her up for success. Also in tower dives, and Mirza most likely is going to be bringing in Akali unless he goes all the way top lane.
It could be to the top lane, and maybe we have a physical one on the mid lane. What could you see in the mid lane? Maybe in Yasuo. Let's see how it is. We do have a few knockups.
Works so well again with Rakan and Wukong, you're right.
Just the thing. On the other side is going to be the Renata to finish it up. We just need the top lane to be revealed from X7. It's Chasey.
Also, I was thinking,
Yeah.
if this is a blind pick Na, which we had Shikari say it's such an easy blind pick, doesn't get punished very often, Yasuo is something that's really good into that blind pick Na, so we could potentially even see that be transitioned towards top side of the map. X7, though, are going to result in a more front-to-back composition like they like to play. Kasing, man, guys, you're like spoiling me now. Stop it. Stop it.
Everybody
Stop it,
likes
you're
trouble.
spoiling me.
There you go. Massive AoE for X7. But I'm just going to say, Yasuo wall kind of blocks the ultimate from Renata. I only see plus on this
And
one,
the Arnold.
but I'm not going to see Yasuo.
Ah, man, I think this is definitely... I love this.
Sad.
I think this is definitely like a Yasuo angle, like a full Yasuo angle. You block the Ornn ult, you block the Corki rockets, you block the Renata ult. Yorick just came in.
It's the Grave Digger!
We're going full hole breaker. We're going to take the entire top lane together with Maiden. And that's exactly the curveball we were talking about. Is X7 ready to take down the Yorick? Yes, you have a very proactive jungler, but you have Volibear together with Ornn. Is this going to be enough to stop Yorick from a side lane? You're going to have to be bringing Corki, you're going to have to be bringing Zeri, and then the rest will not be so active with having the Akali, the Wukong diving in. So I'm liking what I see from this newly formed Singularity. I'm loving the fact that Piccione is taking also mid laners and enchanters down the bot side of the map. And finally, we get to see some Akali. I think Mirza brought such a good flair to Singularity last week that we saw him, especially on the Lucian. I think he smurfed it on Lucian. Can't wait to see him on the Akali.
Final take, final game.
The problem is Yorick, potentially for X7, because it's going to take more than one person most of the times to go and stop his constant split push, so you will have your team really separated. So It's going to be hard for both teams, actually. So if you want me to vote for somebody, I will actually abstain.
It's a take, I would say. He's not going to give a vote on this one. You might see a few zombies coming back from the earth to fight for Singularity, maybe a little bit more help versus X7. It's the last game for the first half of the split, and we do have a few zombies on the studio right now. Hip Brain and Nimo Zombie, I don't know how to say this.
Hip Brain. It was so easy. It was there. The ball was coming. All you had to do is bat it out there.
I was trying to attempt the Michael Jackson Thriller. That's about as good as I could get in that. Great song.
Oh, it is a great song. Wait, not the Nymeria version. No offense. But, I mean...
Yeah, but you've only seen the dance. But get to see these two teams do a bit of a tango on the Rift with a Yorick involved. And last time I saw Yorick...
it was Kerberos. Last time I saw one.
Last time I saw one would have been Apperman in the LJL. He 1v2'd the champions that won LGL in 2020 summer. It's been about 2 years since I've seen the pick.
I remember there was a time where like Kerb was one. I can't remember who the other top laner was. You'd literally ban the Urgot versus them. It's been a while, not Urgot, sorry, Yorick. Been a while since we've seen the Yorick come up. Obviously, a split pushing menace. We saw split pushing really punish on Eminem in the first game from JDXL. We also saw it with the Tryndamere earlier on today as well. The split pushing seems to be something that's showing up more in these damage reduction patches and the durability patches because, you know, these towers are still worth the same amount of gold as they were before, but it's harder to get those golds through kills. So eyes kind of on Singularity to see if they can make this work. Obviously, Scroody gonna dodge away from that Sky Splitter, but eyes on top lane.
Eyes on that top lane, particularly because when we have had our faults with X7, has been where they would basically just try and outscale, play very passively, and just say, when we get to a certain point in the game, our champions are very good and we have the hands to pilot them. It wasn't necessarily about massive coordination. It was a lot of individual plays. It was the Azir, Senna, crazy late game infinite scaling kind of comps. In this game, Yorick forces the issue though. So you need to have more coordination. You need to be able to play around those side lanes. And if you do, bring Ornn and Volibear, who are lore rivals, actually. Thinking about it, we've chatted about that at some point.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they are. They're the Freljordian demigods which fight each other.
True.
Yeah,
well, they're working together versus a man and his pets in the top lane. Do you
know
why I'm saying pets? Because they got more pets, baby. I believe this is the one I wanted to talk about.
Oh my god, it's ferrets!
Look at the ferret.
The cookie and caramel. Oh my god, that's so sweet. Literally.
And yes, I do have great taste in animals. I love ferrets.
Oh.
It's their little burglar masks. They're so cute. I love them. We actually have everyone loaded up. So
we also have fighting in the bot lane level 1.
Oh, we do. Pichone should be okay, but heavily punished by X7.
How rude.
Yes,
we were
are looking
about
at your
ferrets.
All right, I'm going back to pets.
So go. Aww. This boy said first pick Yuumi in draft and win the game GG Nurki.
Honestly,
but the thing is though,
he looks so much like my my girlfriend's Winston.
Aw.
Just like that.
I grew up with a cat.
Though.
I grew up with a cat called Socks, who was black with white feet, so it looked like she was wearing socks. It was adorable.
This is apparently cute.
Oh,
okay.
Oh my gosh, it's a Shiba as well.
I was told this last one was cute.
It is. Well, it didn't disappoint. That's actually adorable.
Your pets never disappoint at home, guys. Please send them in.
Send us more.
I would quite happily turn this show into just a pet showcase.
Normally, we go through like one of these per game and go, oh, we'll play this one clip later. And the games have been fairly slow to allow this, but we have had so many people sending their animal friends to us. We're like, sweet. Show them off. Get them on stream. It makes our job more enjoyable.
It honestly brings a smile to my day. We're kind of, we'll rate your dogs and your pets and stuff. They're all going to be a third.
Oh, look, level 3 dive. Volibear's hit. Let's go. Level 1's on Pichone.
Two-man knock-up, though. They're looking for a little bit more. Pichone, he's going low, but he's not going down. Pichone finally falls. First blood to Attila.
And it is going to be a couple of summoners blown on either side. That level 1 really enabling X7 to play towards the top lane. Now Chasey in trouble, uses that searing charge, but those ghouls are on target.
And Monkey's coming in. He's got the slow, he's got the bop, and slow onto Chasey. The hammer comes down, but they're not going to chase for more. Chasey will be able to survive this gank as Singularity unable to make it work topside, and crucially, no summoner spells burn either. But this bot
We
side,
have seen
where
this
summons burn.
so much today. I wonder what's going on in scrims or elsewhere, because we've seen this bot lane dive, yes, but the immediate cross map coming in, it feels like the bot side has always been winning out today. The top lane cross map has rarely actually led to much after this point. We've actually been seeing a lot in the LEC as well. Europe really starting to get towards this early bot side tower dive again. Seems to be becoming increasingly more frequent.
And it's an interesting thing as well, is actually Temp's getting ganked here, caught out by the monkey bot, slowed by the red buff as he is losing so much health.
Ow.
Wow, chunked out heavily. But kind of going back to the point about the bot lane, obviously a couple weeks ago we had the durability patch introduced. Things obviously changed up. Towers do more damage, people have more resistances. But remember, resistances are based on level scaling. So the more levels you have, the more resistance you have. So if you gank early, it's all right. And I think people have wrapped their heads around how much damage these towers do. So they have to drop tower aggro earlier than they would. And I think there's just been enough scrims, enough practicing on these tower dives to get a good hold on when you can actually pull these dives off. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. Constant dives in the bot lane and constant punishment for especially these Seraphine lanes.
Yeah, and we are seeing that Attila and Kaseng starting to link up a little more. And one thing which was said by, I'm trying to remember who said it in the community, but they were talking about too, of course, this bot lane was the Vodafone Giants bot lane of last year. We saw them at EU Masters. They got through to those quarterfinals before they were beaten by Misfits Premier. In fact, that was the quarterfinal we cast, actually, in my first EU Masters.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
back in Summit. Yeah, so anyway, we've seen this bot lane on a couple of different teams now, and their 2v2 wasn't necessarily the speciality. Feels like in this game, they've got a better handle on it, though. Of course, they're against a new bot lane duo. Of course, Piccione was playing mid lane last game for Singularity. Now moved down towards bot lane to incorporate Mirza, who, of course, came in to replace Piccione, who was mid lane at the start of the split. And it is a newer bot lane, but still, Attila and Kaseng looking comfortable in it.
Yes, they definitely are. Nice little trade there, though, from Piccione and Pearson, able to get that off. But MC thinks about starting up the Cloud Drake.
No.
Cloud Drake does a lot of damage, by the way. It has
Highest
a lot
single
of
target
attack
damage
speed,
in the game, yeah, for the Dragons.
just smacks away at you. MC, though, obviously has that maul, has the ability to recover a bit of health, obviously smites the shields and Kasing, so he'd be okay to pick this up. So first Dragon will go over to X7, and they're going to keep the tempo up, because if you look already, there's a fairly healthy gold lead starting to be built up for X7.
So that is going to be through, I believe it's one plate bot lane. You got the kill, first blood down bot side. You have 20 CS lead in bot lane, almost the same in mid lane dominance. I mean, dare I say it has been the lane dominant team in the ERLs has actually been Karmine Core in the past, actually, and of course currently as well. Feels like X7 showing off our own NLC version of, well, it doesn't matter what else we'll do, we'll have those lane advantages, those CS advantages, and making sure that they're holding Singularity to account.
Sips needs to be a little bit careful, but should be okay. I'd actually like to have a look at the individual gold, just to see how far ahead these bot lanes are.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That area is going to be a
healthy.
problem. And I actually look at what Singularity have, and you don't have that much of an answer to Zeri. You are looking for Rakan to get right on top of that target in the CC layer, everything. It's going to be very hard to do that, though, when Ornn's looking to disrupt you, when Renata ult is disrupting you, when Volibear is doing the same thing. I'm looking at Attila and I think, look, dude, this is your time to shine.
Yeah, MC, though, does need to be quite careful, has to ult to get away. And then kind of go back to that gold lead. You'd be happy with just a 400 gold lead.
Oh,
in 7
Collapse
minutes.
coming in. Singularity went deep for this.
They're looking for it. The two-man knockout comes in to the wall bang onto the two of them. Scrooty falls down to 10th. Sips is flashed onto, and Chasey will continue the chase. The Igniter's being thrown down. He does catch him with a flesh wall, but Kasing will finish him up. A beautiful kill there for X7, back to back, and Chasey set the team up for that.
And Singularity, this is a team which has changed every member besides Piccione from the start of this split, changed so many members throughout the course of this season. Got to start asking questions about, well, we have expectations about them, or rather ones which need to be set about their communication, about their, oh, Attila has to flash out. Got out of that replay early. You could tell something was happening, because when the replay flicks back, you tend to know something's going to happen. But Singularity, we have expectations that need to be set about their level of coordination, about their level of individual play. And currently, in mid and bot lane, we're going back to the replay. Okay, cool. Crisis averted. Talking about the coordination, individual level of play. they get that individual level of play in terms of catching out MC, using that wall so well to catch him out, but then coordination with the rest of the team, understanding where they are on the map, just a little bit lacking in this case. They'd overchase, doesn't seem like they'd really recognized that until far too late, and they lose 2 kills, which is not the best start against this top side.
Not the best start against all of X7, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah.
Bot side, pretty good. Yes, Attila has now burnt Flash, but obviously has the ability to jump over walls because Zeri obviously has a lot of movement speed because Zeri, and still has an exhaust. Not because Zeri, but just because that was what he chose. So does have that to work with. Now, Scrudy is waiting around because Sing is coming in, but the big thing is because Sing hasn't hit 6 yet. So doesn't actually have that big ultimate that can kind of turn the tides of this bot lane action. And Attila's actually almost level 7 because Sing's walk around. What an encore into the beat drop, into the cyclone, and Attila is ignited. Attila will fall down. The bailout's thrown down just to get a little bit more time, but it's not going to do enough. Pachone, that encore was absolutely stunning.
It was lethal, and Attila thinks he's safe for the time being, but with the level 6 hit from Scrudy, enough damage just about comes through. Bailout very, very close, and you're absolutely right to point out the fact that Sing didn't have that level 6. If you have that, potential of an escape very much on the table. Crossmap is going to come in through though. MC going to secure that Herald. We'll be tracking very closely where that's going to give one of these carries one of their leads. I'd imagine it's going to be staying away from this Ornn lead. Chasey is surviving right now. If you feed this into Corki or Zeri, you're very happy with how things go though from the side of X7.
Chasey's doing quite a lot of damage, actually. He saw how much that Bellow's Breath did. I expect to see this Rift will get thrown down in the mid or in the bot. Obviously, decided Corki, a champion who kind of needs as much gold as possible.
Yeah.
I hit on it earlier, but he's a champion that relies quite heavily on quite a few components. Obviously, you want that tier. You obviously want Mana Mune, which is kind of a component until it's fully stacked up into the
and then
mana.
You need the Hex Drinker for AP matchups.
Yeah. And then you still need a lost chapter. Like, he has a lot. His like initial buy is very expensive. The payoff once you got that like 2.5 items, including the Hex Drinker, is enormous. But he is a champion who is very, very reliant on gold. Once he kind of hits those, like after that 2 items, every item afterwards is like a big spike.
What really saves Corki though is that their first couple of levels are really impactful just in terms of base damage. Phosphorus Bomb, notoriously high damage. Actually, that's why he was played as a bot laner for so long. But that was before a load of changes came through. But his his level 1 Phos Bomb is so nasty to play against in so many laning situations. But now we get to talk about a little bit later into the game, which is the special delivery. The package has been picked up by Tempt. Dragon is spawning now, but with Singularity resetting, it looks like they are more than content to just going to let this package time out. And Singularity going to be losing more damage on mid, going to be losing that Dragon while they're avoiding the package. It's not like they're avoiding losses across the map at the same time. They haven't got their lead in top lane they would have loved for their Yorick. I think that top side skirmish has really led to that eventuality. Jungle matchup starting to go away from Scrudy as well. MC picking up more and more farm, picking up Dragons, Heralds, and then both carries on the bot side similarly ahead. X7 just pound for pound out-muscling Singularity.
Well, they've taken power bot side, and that gold went to Attila. He is set up as they are looking to drop the package down here. Sips is not got flash. He's caught out. He's going down. He's slowed, and that is Tempt with the kill. Maiden will fall as well, and now Attila has actually more time to get more plates. So this is even larger gold leads coming in momentarily for the side of X7.
And Sips just doesn't have the information on top side to play safely at that point. You can't just play safely for absolutely forever, but Singularity not really set up their top lane for success in that one. And again, it feels like that ill-fated top side catch into turnaround really has spelled a really difficult situation for them. It is a huge amount of gold for this point in the game, going over the weight of X7, partly through those individual plays and partly through, of course, the CS leads in every single lane. Singularity, again, we were kind of talking about how we needed to kind of see where they were currently standing at in the grand scheme of the NLC. Sat at 0-8, maybe a chance to, at least on paper, reset the mantle, reset the slate a little bit for this roster, because they need to. This is the end of the first round robin. Setting at 0-9 would be such an unprecedented comeback for this team. It'd be so difficult to come back from, but as it stands, not really got a lot of hope in this one, at least in the early game.
Quite a lot of damage coming out from Attila there. Only 1 minute left until the plates actually fall off, so I don't think Attila is going to be able to...
Oh, have you ran into Zeri's crit W now? Have you run into that?
No.
Yeah, so
I
this
mean,
is
to
the
be
thing that
fair,
we've seen with this is the thing we've seen with AP Zeri, where effectively what changed was when you have the full charged auto on your passive, your right click doesn't slow anymore, but it does more damage. Well, if your W goes into a wall, it basically automatically crits, and yes, that does benefit from Infinity Edge. But what that means is that when you build AP, because it automatically crits anyway, the amount of damage you get from Zeri's W is absolutely absurd. So watch for that W, it becomes such a big damage. See if we'll see it in this fight.
You can only throw the Encore onto one. MC has been CC locked though, but Attila's over the wall, and that is a big ultimate coming down from Kasing. Massive hostile takeover, but it won't result in any kills, as MC's trying to desperately get this plate before it falls off. Not going to do so, unfortunately, and they are going to step away.
But even though you're surviving in topside, most of the time when you see these players, you look for a cross map. I see nothing. I see Chasey.
Oh, Sips got chunked. Oh, Sips got chunked by Chasey.
Exactly. I mean, Chasey gets to push in bot side. Yorick is losing the push versus Ornn. Now, Chasey did come in from LCK Challengers, did come in as a hot prospect from Korea, as so many players have done to the ERLs over this last season. Of course, X7 being home to a number of them. But even with that, you don't expect that in the Ornn versus Yorick matchup. This matchup, which was last picked, this matchup which Singularity would love to have side lane pressure, to force X7 to play coordinated, to play to their own tempo across the sidelines, has absolutely failed so far.
Yeah, seeing Temp just chunking out Merza. Does have to be a little bit careful because Pearson is in the area, but has been spotted out on the board. And ow. Was that a big one, or was that just a regular?
It was a big one. It doesn't have the Ludens on top of it or anything, but it's still... trust me, you see that red mark under his mana bar, and you're like, yep, really need to dodge this next one. Pops on the mini wave, and Merza, while he might have some kill pressure later into this game, has struggled to find any kind of winning trades against Tempt so far to force him back and get some kind of ability to skirmish. He's been under tower so much so far, not really able to impact the map.
Yeah, unable to do so. Dragon spawning up in a minute's time is Chasey has got the ultimate and has a nice little flank here. Tempt has to be somewhat careful.
MC's here too. Looks like they're baiting the play.
They are coming in. They're jumping in. They're trying to find Tempt, but they can't get so, as MC and Chasey were there just to scare them off.
Oh, Sips.
Kasing and Attila will be looking for Sips. Sips is actually able to do quite a lot of damage to Kasing, and that might be enough to scare them off, but MC, he's found himself a bird, catching them off for the moment. The phosphorus bomb gonna go a little bit wide as MC has to, they get the Ornn horn off, and here comes the interrupts, here comes the turnaround. Hostile takeover, lands onto Scroody, he throws out the ultimate, and they find him with the W from Attila. An absolutely amazing pick there for the side of X7. They get themselves a kill in return. Sorry, they lose MC, but in return they gain 2 kills.
Even with that, you know, Piccione is the one left on the side lane. This is not the champion you want on the side lane, pushing your turrets. Piccione away from the fight. You would have loved that encore, would have loved that Enchanter to be buffing up your entire team. Singularity, they're already at such a large deficit, but they're struggling to even find fights within their own jungle. Only 16 minutes into the game. We've had some short games today, but X7 starting to ratchet up that pressure, find fights in increasingly deeper territory, and Singularity not in a great position to respond. We'll really need to see them find some more gripped up fights or get some kind of sideline advantage, and they're failing to find either right now.
I mean, what we're seeing is passively teams getting ahead and then just going,
closing the door.
It's done. And like, we've had games being a little more backwards and forwards and even still being a fast-paced game, but especially these last two, it's been relatively relaxed. They then pick themselves up a gold lead, snowball that gold lead to the point where then the other team just don't get to play at all.
I think that speaks well to the fundamentals of playing from ahead. I actually think it's a sign of a good team if you can close out very strongly, because if you have to continue to play around objectives and set them up in the right way, get your vision in the right place, and yeah, I know we talk about vision a lot on broadcast, but particularly in these games, one of the reasons they look so low energy rather, is because just the vision stops them from getting caught out. Would have loved to have some vision of that. Wukong going over the wall though.
Here comes Chasey though, he gets himself the 2-man Ornn horn knock up. That It's a massive encore, though, coming in from Pichone. The package has been dropped as Tempt looks to take out Pichone on the back line. Mirza trying to jump around with the ultimate, but he can't do diddly squat. A double kill for Attila as X7 just take over the fight once again. Every time Singularity don't have an answer, Sips will get the shutdown gold on the tower, but he might get shut down in response for this as MC's in the wings. Sips tries to put up the flesh sword, actually catches MC. That might be enough to keep him away from the stun, but he misses the slow with the miss. There's no towers to go to, and
he's just accepted it.
That is not an okay amount of damage for a Corki.
Oh gosh, Tempt has, even in X7's woes, Tempt has been just incredible. I think in spring it was a tale of two mid laners, really. It was really Tempt and M&S for most of spring. Of course, Fury had honorable mention for his late split performance in spring too, but Tempt has continued to be, in this split at least, even when X7 have been on the low end of their own performance, continually a threat, continually in the right place at the right time and doing so much damage.
18 minutes into the game, the gold lead, 8,000 right now. X7 kind of showing us why they were one of the top teams last split.
And that they can be again.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is they've not had a great split. They're 4-4 right now, but only at the end of the first round. But they'd like rather be higher, as Pichone able to just about dodge away on the Ornhorn, but in comes the Ram man, looking to find the knock-up. And
that is no flash on Seraphine. But why is Pichone in a side lane alone again? Why are they there? This is not where you want your Seraphine. Have your Akali in a side lane, have your Yorick there too, and they're now stuck in the fight without their Enchanter.
He's been caught, he's going to jump over the wall. Mirza misses out on the perfect execution, and they're able to fend the kill. Attila gets another screen.
Oh,
goes down, it's a double kill, picked up for Attila. Sips is taken down by a rocket, and he will be sent back to the grey screen to join the rest of Singularity as only Pearson will survive. The big worm spawns. X7 are on this side of the map. They might just start it
They will take it on spawn. They have enough damage. We saw how much damage that Temp was doing against champions. Let's see how much you can do against this Baron. It is going down. And X7 pulling Singularity apart at the seams. Pichone in a side lane alone yet again. And this time gets punished with a death for X7. Quickly find a fight on the top side afterwards, knowing that the Enchanter isn't there, knowing that the Encore isn't. And Chasey manages to join that fight to X7, being much more coherent, playing around their points of power and punishing the mistakes as they come. Confident performance from our reigning champions in the NLC.
Very, very confident game here. And it looked bad. Attila got caught. Attila got a lot thrown on him, but he was just able to survive thanks to the shielding coming in from Kasing, and able to get out in time and then just start to tidy up the fights. Obviously, having the shield, Immortal Shield.
That's the one, yeah.
Definitely helps somewhat as well.
Also helps when you've got aim hack on your Corki rockets, as Temp seems to have so much damage again. Hits their own breakpoints. You talked about how Corki was such a gold-dependent champion. He's actually going for the Blighted Jewel into the Void Staff, presumably next. And this Corki is absolutely nuclear. At this point, Blast Cone is going to spot out some members of Singularity. MC.
One hell of an ult. They're finding the knock-up. Look for the Encore. If he can land it, it might be good, but it's only on to 2, and now they have to run away. Pichone is being chased, and I will Sarah see you in hell as they throw down a massive hostile takeover. 2 members of Singularity fall. Sips can do nothing but run away as the bear runs him down. The Sky Splitter will slow him. Tempt will take him down, and X7 will force Pearson to flash away as Mirza. It has just not been the game for Akali, unfortunately. He thinks he's safe, but there is one scary bear coming in to chase him down, and Chasey will continue the chase, but they're cooling it off there. They're stepping away.
Oh my gosh, X7. I mean, we were talking about quick games. It is 22 minutes into this game. This is not what we have come to expect from the durability patch. It's meant to slow games down. It's definitely made some of the fights longer, but definitely not this one. One of the key moments I'd love to highlight from this, and I'm sure we'll see it in the replay as well, is Kasing utterly blocks Mercer from this fight. Mercer just has no way in, gets hit by a handshake, and suddenly it's just, okay, cool, fight's over. That was the only way I think that Singularity could maybe come out with something better from this, try and use that Akali diving through clumped up members. But while all of this is going so well from MC, just look at this, Kasing punts him out. Mirza doesn't get an ult across, doesn't get a shuriken flip onto anyone important. This Akali achieves so little from the prime positioning of Kasing and, of course, that disengaged play. MC and crew have so much damage to capitalize, rather, on the rest of the plays being made.
And now Sips once again on the receiving end of a whole lot of hurt, but he is going to be okay. They're not going to be able to pick him up quite yet. Got Soul. I think that's the big thing. They've got Soul,
yes.
They've got Baron, and they've got Herald. Like,
oh my gosh.
This game is just the trifecta of doom.
I think from this point, with the amount of charges Herald's going to have, I don't think we can possibly get the Chant Dancing Herald. It's almost certainly going to die. But they're getting goal. That's a good amount of damage.
Someone's going down. They got a big ultimate. MC's under the tower, and they are scattered. It's like a shopping list. One by one, they go down. It's a clean ace for X7. It's going to be a clean victory to follow as well. I mean, the inhibitor falls. The towers are going down. Namira, this game's over.
I mean, is this League of Legends or Halo? That looked like a Mac round, an orbital strike onto Singularity. They've been absolutely bunker blasted back to 0 and 9. A first round robin only marked by defeats.
They basically mirrored XL here. It was not a great start to the split. 0-9 for Singularity as X7 drop a tactical nuke on them. Game's over, 24 minutes on the clock, and X7 just slaughter Singularity.
Was that our fastest game of today?
No,
I have a feeling.
XL were 23 minutes.
23 minutes.
On, like, it was like 22 minutes 59 or 23 minutes on the dot.
The fact that I had to consider that, though, after how ridiculously stompy that other game was, is still ridiculous in its own right. I know that we were talking very much at the start of the day. Something that Solari said is that actually when you look at the standings, you tend to look at this mid-pack because the top and the bottom tend to be sold fairly early into the split. When I look at X7 like this, and they are currently only set at 5 and 4, we could see very much some late charges into it. I think there's a couple of chapters left to be written at the top of the table if things carry on like this.
It's 36 degrees outside in Berlin, but I swear it's winter because we've had so many snowballs today. It has been an unbelievably fast day. We're actually going to chuck a snowball over to Archeron to break down the rest of the day. So over to you, mate.
Catch it. Catch the snowball. Oh,
Thank you.
wow.
No, that was a really good segue here, Brian, and really good cast from you and Naiman as well. Congratulations on the entire day. And what a clean game it was from X7. The way MC was reading the entire map. Okay, I have the volley bear. I can early dive as well. I can give us that lead. It was really hard. And we talked about this. If X7 gets some sort of lead at the beginning of the game versus this new Singularity, it may be quite difficult to come back from. And it was difficult.
I think the most important thing is that when X7 realized that they had to enable MC so he can enable the team, that's where it started rolling for them. Because it doesn't matter what you put Attila on, he's going to perform. It doesn't matter what you put Kasing on, he's going to perform. But I think it's so important not only to give comfort to MC, but to give him an enabler. So it didn't matter when they gave him Viego because it's more of a passive jungler. But when they did give him that Wukong and that Volibear, he's just going to tear them up apart.
This Volibear definitely was the fire starter for the whole team and for the whole game that went afterwards, after this early aggression, because it was exactly what X7 needed. They needed to make sure that whatever Singularity tried to pull them, especially with that Yorick, who could be potentially always split pushing 24/7, never leaving the side lanes, you want to make sure that if this happens, their team gets nothing from that. And to do that, you shut them down early and you make sure you keep going on and on and on them.
And it seems like the Yorick was completely shut off. We didn't get to see the Yorick we were expecting.
You know what I would really like to see, though, if we're ready? I would like to see the Nidalee jungle extraordinaire.
Oh, the return?
The return. Do we maybe have him for an interview?
We do have MC for the interview with us for this last game of week 5, day 1. MC, hello there.
Hello, hello.
There you are. Okay. I would have to say that your Volibear is looking quite clean. Don't you agree?
Yeah, although we played against the bottom teams, I think it's been some good games.
And another additional thing was I was having a discussion about this new patch. People were telling me that, no, it's impossible to dive. It's ridiculous. But you guys are finding a way with specific champions. Can you guide me? How did you find this? And how are you working with these early dives until 8 minutes in?
I think Volley is one of the few junglers who can easily dive. And I think both games, the enemy jungle went top lane, which made it really easy to dive the lane, especially like these weak lanes like Seraphine, Ezreal, Yuumi. So I think that helped that the jungler didn't cover. But yeah, Volley is really strong at diving.
Okay, I just want to dive a little bit deeper into this conversation. MC, we saw you have an amazing run with Riddle in spring. You guys took out XL in the playoffs as well. And your role, I feel, in that Riddle is so much different than your role in X7. How has sort of that transformation and transition worked for you? What was your role in Riddle and how have you transitioned to that role in X7?
I think with Riddle, I was kind of one of the main carriers of the team. But with X7, it's more of I think the meta changed as well, but I'm more of like a supportive player, I would say, like with volley or it's just the meta how it is. But I think it also depends on the champion pools. Like I think if you can play a lot of AD mids, for example, I can play my AP junglers. But if we don't, then I don't mind playing some Viego, some Volibear. Yeah.
There's another thing that
You
I want to
answered my
point
own
out.
question and I was like, where's the Nidalee? Where's the Rumble?
Yeah.
Where's the Diana?
There's something that I'm enjoying. While I was watching X7 in Spring Split, we saw a lot of action of Haru and Tempt. And as soon as you joined in, it didn't seem like the chemistry was as it was in Spring Split. But now, the way you're playing with Tempt as well, is rotating as well, facilitating the team and becoming a carry of his own while accompanying you into those lanes. How are you feeling the synergy between you and Tempt is evolving?
I think it's getting better and better, of course. I think obviously it's not gonna look as good as Haro because they're both Korean. They've played with each other before. But I think as time goes by, I can just see it getting better and better. And hopefully we can do more together.
Maybe get to see another menace.
I just hope I get to see Nidalee again, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Me
get to
too,
see the
me too.
Nidalee again one day.
I want to play in Italy.
Ah, you always want to
course
play
you
the
do.
Nidalee. I know you do. Okay, it's the wrap up for the first half of the split. How are you feeling in the position that X7 is taking right now in the split?
Not the best because it's not what I was expecting to go. Obviously 5-4. But I think if you look at our scrims, we've been really improving a lot. So I'm hopeful for the second half.
Okay, me too, MC. Thank you so much for this interview and good luck
Thank you for having
starting
me.
on Wednesday. Have a nice one. The synergy is building up. We might
Wants to
get to
play
see.
Nidalee as well. Come on, man. You know what? I want the rematch with JDXL
Ooh.
and he picks Nidalee again.
Okay, that would
But
be
this time, Tempt like slams down the Yone, you know? That's
with the
it.
physical AD in the mid lane. With
Oh, hell yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're building up. We're building up some sort of story right here, but it seems like the team is adapting, and even though they're not at the top of the standings, it seems they know what the future is holding up for them. So it's good to have a team that knows where they can go, even though they're not there.
It's not just they know where they want to go there. And this desire, this passion can actually drive them pretty far. If they keep that adaptability with them, they could land up pretty high.
Now we have the opportunity to talk with Singularity, with Jojo, that is standing with us. Hello, Jojo. Okay, how you doing before we start?
I'm doing all right. It's not a game we expected to win, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is a hard take. If you look into your position, completely new team, obviously, and facing off straight up X7. What was the game plan? What did you tell the team? It was like, okay, we just need to take this easily.
Yeah, we actually didn't play with Spike today because he was stuck outside of his town. So we had to put in Pigeon in the AD carry position, which kind of we didn't get enough practice on that. We obviously weren't expecting to play with him, so it was already like gonna be hard from the start. So we just kind of put everyone on comfort and tried to play our best. Obviously.
Okay, so obviously this is a very hard topic, but the team has had a complete restructure. And I'd like a little bit to pick your brain on how do you pick players from zero, right? How do you start restructuring a team? How do you put the pieces together?
It's always hard. I think we kind of picked players that have played together in the past, and our head coach has obviously had experience with Scrudy and Zips in the past, and also Pearson. So we kind of thought these people would work well with our head coach, and they were luckily not playing, so that was kind of easy pulling the parts together.
Ah, that's really cool, especially if they've played together before, if the coach knows them. I think this is, thank you so much for the insight, because we obviously, it's a brand new roster and we're looking forward to seeing what these guys can do together, right?
And even though it's a new roster, we did get to see a few lights inside of this game. We saw some parts where we were like, wait, this is actually interesting. So my question to you is, what is the objective for Singularity now, the renewed Singularity, I would say, starting on this part of the split? Because you're starting at the half part of the split. What is the main objective?
Well, just to pick up as many wins as we can to the end. We play against Veneer on Wednesday, so I think we have a good chance there because they didn't look too great today. Obviously, they made their change themselves as well. So yeah, just taking a step at a time, and hopefully we can pick up some wins.
Okay, seems good enough. Let's see how this fares out on the second half of the split. Thank you so much for the interview, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's a wrap up. Obviously, it's a new team, new phone, who this, so they have to
I love the insight.
practice.
It's just so important. He's like 1, 2, 3 players. They've played together before. They're not playing for any team right now. The coach knows them as well. Put them in. They surely have synergy. They surely like to play with each other because they played with each other before. They probably have insights for other players as well. So I really like the thought process of how do we rebuild, make sure we have some players that have played together before, right? Eminem have done this as well with the top side of the map, with Soft, Kalem, and Chimera as well. And their synergy seems to be flowing too. So it just works.
This is the wrap-up for the first half of Summer Split 2022, which leads us into standings to understand, are we going to wrap up the first half? If you can help me through this one, as JDXL are going to get the 9-0 and Team Singularity with the 0-9, like completely apart
Symmetry.
right now. Yeah, symmetry. But look into the rest of the entire standings, X7 just jumping today.
And they want to jump higher, and that's what interests me so much in this team right now, because they have places to jump. They're not that far from anybody else. They're together with Dusty, they're together with Astralis, and if you look at the next one, the Bifrost, who's sitting firmly, the only team on the 3rd place right now, they're not too far as well. It's 6-3. You can still get to them, and you can try even to get above them if you really want. The same goes with Dusty, the same goes with Astralis.
My sights are set on Riddle. I'm like just 2 wins away from Excel. You are replaying Excel, which means you are maybe taking 1 win off of them, which means then you're 1 win away. X7 want to replay Excel as well. So it feels like it's like a revenge battle to face in JDXL as well, and who's going to give them that first defeat. And mind you, when that first defeat goes down, and once you know how to make them bleed, other teams will see and they can follow suit, right? So yeah, my eyes are peeled on Riddle and their rematch with JDXL and how far they can actually push each other.
Because I love that segment, because you're looking into JDXL completely on a hero pose. We are undefeated, but now X7 and Riddle are hungry for that victory. And if they do, XL are going to fall off the podium, and then you have to understand if they're capable of withstanding that mental pressure that every single team is looking to take them out. It's easy to be first place, but it's hard to keep at the first place. That's what I've always learned as a player. Now for the play of the day, the one that caught our eyes with the MasterCard. Let's see which one it was picked for today.
Well, you know what? It might or might not be from that 9-0 undefeated JDXL. And it was, of course, that mid lane fight. I think FGG had a fantastic hostile takeover. Flash is in and he's 5 members. And even though we're like, yeah, but in this team, nobody's really a heavy AD hitter, right? It doesn't matter because the CC comes down, and for that amount of time, everybody's hitting each other. There's chaos. You're all stuck in the mid grinder. And as you can see, also Kryze runs away with a triple kill right there. So that was FTG on Rel. It's like, but FTG on Renata is even it's like the triple kiss.
It's a 5v5, and in the end, only Venzer dies, and GD is like,
I mean,
seems fair.
seems fair.
Seems fair. And they just move along and just win the game. So this is the team.
I think Venzer dying is kind of like the humanoid dies from LEC. It's like,
It's okay. We can take those. We can take those. Also, we can take a look into the next day, the schedule of week 5, day 2. It's rematch now. Eminem Gaming versus Dusty. Wait a minute. Bifrost versus Riddle on the second game.
ooh,
This is just an appetizer, because straight up afterwards we have JDXL versus X7. Is that the fifth kiss?
I'm licking my fingers right here. I'm done with the appetizer and I'm ready to go into the main dish.
Luniki versus Astralis as well, and then Team Singularity versus Vanir. When we heard Jojo say, this is looking good for us because Vanir didn't look really hot today, so they might be able to take this one. What do you see in this part where you're like, oh, I want to see this game?
Honestly, it's almost all of them, but the second and the third games are definitely the biggest one.
Yeah.
I mean, Bifrost, who are so strong right now, together with Riddle, who are also just ridiculously strong in what they do on the map, what they do as a team. And both of these teams with pretty much a similar sort of playstyle are going to collide with each other. Yes, I'm going to wait so much for this game. But the third one, I mean, do I even need to explain anything? It's EDXL, it's X7. I mean, I think we've said enough about them today.
Yeah, I just looking at the Riddle versus Bifrost because they're both sitting like one win away from each other. Riddle want to take this victory to get closer to to get closer to JDXL, and Bifrost, if they win this, they tie together with Riddle. And if we're looking at the JDXL versus X7, I'm like, block your calendars for Wednesday, please. Get your blankets, get your popcorns. This is gonna be a banger. And I'm wondering, like, because
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
yeah. Chaotic bloodbath.
Yes.
I remember like X7 came in with a little bit of the jitters in the first game versus JDXL and it didn't work out. This time they look to be working on full cylinders.
Aside from Singularity, all teams' changes are now completely filled in into the teams, so we might get a few surprises. And I want to know from you if you saw any surprise today. Last words for the day, and I'm gonna throw it back to you as well, Georgia.
Renata Ultimates. Finally.
Are you converted?
Yes, finally,
Welcome.
I am the Renata believer.
believes in
FGG
Renata.
supremacy.
Now I do.
What about you, Trouble?
I'm also a believer of the FGG church, actually. I feel like, if anything, I don't think anything pretty much surprised me today. Riddle played pretty well. X7 are keeping on track, and XL still clean. So I think the top set of the map, the top set of the standings at least, are looking really strong. And I think this is the thing that I have my sights on a lot: how strong are our top three teams moving into EU Masters. This is what we need to be looking at because we're winning this one, boys.
Okay, let's. NL Copium back in business, baby. It is the wrap-up for Week 5, Day 1. We are done with the first half of the split. Moving on, it's about rematches and it's about taking over the NLC Summer Split 2022. I wish you the best day. I wish to see you on Wednesday as well. And until then, keep feeding, my boy. I'll see you soon.